The first thing autonomous systems do to a crisis is compress its time. In a human-paced incident, there is usually a gap between the first sign of trouble and real harm, time to convene, assess, and decide. A system acting at machine speed removes most of that gap. The harm accumulates while the institution is still working out what is happening. So the crisis response that's served when people made the decisions is too slow when systems do. The order of operations has to change, and the change is uncomfortable because it means acting before you fully understand. There is a second shift. An autonomous failure is rarely just a technical incident handled by a technical team. Because the system was acting in the institution's name, on its customers, its money, its regulatory standing, the response is an institutional one from the start. Technology, risk, legal, communications, and leadership are all involved sooner than they would be for a conventional outage because the exposure is not confined to a system. That is why crisis command has to be settled in advance. Who leads, who can authorize containment, who speaks for the institution, and how those people are reached quickly, none of that can be invented during the event. The institutions that handle these well have decided the command structure before they need it. The core discipline is the one we met in the safety module, now at institutional scale, containment before explanation. When a system is suspected of acting wrongly and acting fast, you contain its reach and halt its action first, on suspicion before the cause is known, because every minute spent confirming exactly what is wrong is a minute the system spends doing more of it. Then you preserve the record, because a panicked shutdown that destroys the evidence trades one loss for another, and that trail is what later makes both recovery and explanation possible. Then you keep the business running through a manual or constrained path, because customers are still waiting and obligations are still due. And only then do you complete the diagnosis and the explanation. This works only if the authority to contain was granted in advance, exercisable quickly, and built to be reversible. So acting early is cheap, and waiting is what carries the real cost. Two things are easy to get wrong in the moment. The first is evidence during a crisis. The instinct under pressure is to act and tidy up later. But the record made during the incident is exactly what a regulator, a court, and your own learning will depend on. Preserving it is not a distraction from the response. It is part of the response. The second is communication. When an autonomous system has done something the institution must answer for, there is pressure to project certainty before you have it. Communicating without false certainty means saying clearly what you know, what you do not yet know, and what you are doing about it, rather than offering reassurance you cannot stand behind. A confident statement that later proves wrong costs more trust than an honest, "we are containing this," and still establishing the cause. In our example, if Mithras Bank's release agent begins acting on a pattern, no rule sanctioned, the bank isolates it and routes the queue to manual at once, preserves the record, keeps payments moving by hand, and tells those who must be told what it knows and does not yet know, while it establishes the cause. Next, what real recovery means and how to turn all of this into a plan you can use.